of you was this, but you know what? As I got to know you, it became this. So these are the types of brand conversations that allow us to shape the perceptions that we put out there and create what I call the best possible impression, the BPI, and that would be the digital equivalent of the best version that so many people are talking about in the literature these days. The best possible impression in a world that's gone online has literally been forced online by this pandemic. All we have to go on is how we look in the online world. And there's a lot of feedback to be gleaned on that. But at the same time, it's text, it's pictures, it's video, it's words. It's a little different than the flesh, blood, and bone of someone who's right in front of you.
Well, how do we use improvisation in the business world as an expert?
Well, I think some of the best things I've ever done have been improvised, and that's just me. I prefer to go off script. I tend to seize a little bit when I'm too regimented or when there's too much planning, and I'm on record as saying sometimes the best plan is no plan at all. That was the basis of how I attacked the improv scene back in the 1980s when I was fascinated by how people could just get up on a stage and create something out of nothing. It just impressed upon me the true pinnacle of creativity of man, to go out there and do something that was relatable to an audience, but yet had not been written down, had not been rehearsed or prepared. And it's just something that I've always done. Is this for everybody? Oh, gosh, no, Christine. I mean, there are people who are very good going off playbooks, and that's great. But for me, my whole life has just been showing up, doing the best I can, managing conversations as effectively as I knew how to do, treating people well, and letting them know what my core values are, and that's how I feel I've built the brand. I'm not sure I could have done it if I had written it out or planned it or staged it in a couple of modules. It just had to flow naturally for me, and it still continues to do that. I have no idea what I'm going to say until it literally flies out of my mouth.
Well, I've never heard you be short on words, but also being able to say something of value or that's useful to your listeners. That's so important. And,
well, you know. And the other piece is, if I may, to extend your thought, I think that's how a lot of folks are finding themselves now in the online world is maybe they weren't that great in creative writing class, or they didn't do the reading they were supposed to do, or they don't have the understanding of language that a lot of folks have. They're great on the phone and they're great in business scenarios, but now we're all in a level playing field right now, and we're all trying to expand on communications. And I truly think that the folks who are going to set themselves up for the best opportunities on the other side of COVID as we recover are going to be those folks who have seeded their conversations well and have been able to bookmark their thoughts with others, and they can pick it up at a later time. There's a lot that we're doing now that we didn't do pre-COVID, and a lot of people are uncomfortable with the technology or having to deliver in front of a webcam. But the better you get at that, the more organized your thoughts are, and the more emphasis and importance you attach to these online meetings, the better you'll get. You will find your influence, and the words will come.
Well, I hope that that's true, right, for everyone, because it's so important. And what do you think about Zoom and how that's been impacting us? We've gone, practically and strictly to video conferencing as a device.
I love Zoom, and it's good to be the people at Zoom right now, isn't it, Christine?
It's good to be a shareholder at Zoom, right?
You want to talk about a company that was in the right place at the right time, and to their credit, they have handled it so well. A few minor security breaches at the beginning, but For the most part, it is a pristine platform that is extremely user-friendly. You get some rockin' fast Wi-Fi going, and you're basically set up for business. I enjoy it. I don't think Zoom fatigue really applies to me because, again, it plays right into my sweet spot. I'm a natural broadcaster. Again, my improv comes into play here because I go into a 30-minute Zoom call with someone, whether I've met them at a networking event or whether they're attending one of my events. And I run my Zoom events like little productions, or my Zoom conferences like little productions. I want to engage with people. I want to hear about them. I want to find out how they're managing their affairs during the pandemic and how their families are, and arrive from a place of service and interest, and not to sell them anything, but to truly just have human-to-human communication. And I've never used the term zoomed out or moaned about how many Zoom calls I've had during the course of a day. I'm putting in long days in front of my device, and the webcam is always on, and my room is always open. And it's a very comfortable room, Christine. You've been there. It's pretty cool.
I have. It's pretty cool.
And, I figure if I'm going to spend 15, 20, 30 minutes with someone, I want to make them feel welcome. I want to be remembered. And Zoom has become a way for me to continue to build my brand. If I can create a great virtual experience through a one-on-one Zoom call from my man cave or my studio, and kind of get to the core of who someone is and learn more about them, and possibly even explore avenues of collaboration, that is a business win.
Well, I have no doubt that you are winning constantly. And for the 2 minutes that we have left, share with us your futuristic perspectives. Where is all of this taking us? What can we expect as we recover and move forward in a post-COVID world?
Great question, and I'm sure everybody has their own almost utopian vision of what that might look like. I'm a professional speaker, and I mourn the death of the speaking industry every day. I don't want to say it's completely ready for burial right now, but I'm not quite sure that virtual events cut it the way that in real world events cut it before. I miss the stage. I miss looking out into an audience and meeting their eyes and educating them in that way. But at the same time, the hybrid event is probably closer than we think, and with all of the positive talk of a vaccine coming, more and more people may be willing to step out and put a lot of this fear of the pandemic behind them. But you'll also have a strong contingent of people who may be reeling from it, and PTSD may be rampant. They may not be willing to attend events for quite some time. So I don't know what the meeting and event industry looks like, but I do know that people have also really dug the fact that working at home and being with their families and assisting with the household and pushing their children through the in-home learning process has been a godsend for them. And they may not be in a hurry to deal with the pressures of a daily commute into a downtown office. They'd rather work from their living room or their home office in their flannel jammies and their coffee.
I hear you. I know that that's certainly my modus operandi, if you will. But honestly, JD, this has been an incredible conversation. I'm so grateful that you were able to join us today. And we will be able to find you at jdgershbein.com and on LinkedIn as JD Gershbein, and we will have those in the show notes. I want to thank you so much for being with us today and sharing such valuable wisdom.
Well, thank you, Christine, for having me and for keeping my head in the game with your wonderful regular messages. I've had this circled on my calendar. You lived up to every expectation. In fact, may I say, you exceeded every expectation.
You certainly may.
This was great, and I enjoyed myself. Thank you.
Thank you so much. You have a fantastic day, everybody. Take care.